Hello, welcome to yoga. Glad you can make it with us today. Today I want to just put an intention out there for positivity. And there's a concept in yoga called Pratipaksha Bhavana. I'll see if I can put a comment in with a link to Yogipedia, which is where I'm kind of referencing this definition. It's really cultivating the practice of seeking the positive, or as the Sanskrit definition, Pratipaksha means opposite, and Bhavana means cultivation, so cultivating the opposite. So as negative thoughts come in, can we start to cultivate the opposite of that, the true nature of what we're contemplating, and become more positive? So in the yoga world, according to the Yoga Sutras, this is a way in which yogis can change their thinking and discontinue negative thinking, anything that is, as defined as anything that is against the Yamas or the Niyamas. So maybe as we go through practice today on the mat in our yoga practice, we can start to practice Pratipaksha Bhavana. And as negative thoughts might come in, or you feel like you're not doing it right, or my knee always fails me in this situation, maybe you can contemplate and first of all become aware of those thoughts and feelings arising up, and then also then maybe start to retrain the brain to think in a more positive direction and a healthier direction. And of course this is a great lesson to take off the mat, and as you start to recognize that you're going into that negative pattern, maybe this is a way to help you to take a pause, and then now it'll be a positive experience, and you can choose to do that, So anyway, that's where we're going to start today, is trying to cultivate Pratipaksha Bhavana. So welcome to yoga. So today we have a few props that we're going to use. I'm creating a heart bench with a cushion and a couple of blocks. You can use cushions off your couch. You can use some books. And if this doesn't work for your back, certainly just come to a full position laying down on your mat. I'm going to do the strap series as a warm-up. So if you have a strap or a tie from a bathrobe or something that you can use, welcome you to get your tie ready. And then when we come to Shavasana, I don't know if you have an eye pillow or you want to take a piece of cloth and just rest it over your eyes. You might want to have that handy today as well. And of course I always have a blanket nearby for propping up my pelvis to start practice, and many other uses to cushion the knees, etc. So as we come into practice today, if you'd like to come with me to the heart bench, this is how you can set up your heart bench with two blocks this way, and you can regulate the height if that feels more comfortable for you, and then lay a cushion or maybe a rolled blanket on top of however you want to elevate yourself. And then I like to have my blanket right there, and then if you sit right in front of that little structure you just built and come on down so that your head can rest gently on the bolster or the pillow or rolled up blanket. And then just draw your arms out to the side so that you're beginning to open up in the heart, in the chest. Maybe you can bring your feet together in Baddha Konasana, if that's comfortable for you to do that, or you can extend the legs out, or if it's kind of tweaky on your low back, you can bend the knees and then just let the knees flop together. That'll release any pressure on the low back. So we're going to start our practice today here, sinking into this position just in any way that you need to. If you're not quite comfortable, please feel free. And now begin to just breathe here, starting to deepen our breath. Opening up in the heart space. Again, that intention of Pratipaksha Bhavana. starting to think about as we drop into this witness consciousness, starting to notice when our thoughts linger on anything negative, and we start to at least notice that today. Maybe we don't change it entirely all today, but maybe we can just begin to notice that. So as we begin to deepen our breath, opening up in the heart, allowing that intention to wash over us, breathing deeply, in and out through the nose, drawing our awareness into our breath, inviting our thoughts to soften, inviting our thoughts to be more positive in this crazy time. Couple more deep breaths right here. This feels really good and restorative to you. You can just put the tape on pause, the YouTube on pause, and just sit here for any number of moments, any number of breaths that feel right for you. Breathing deeply. And when we're ready to move again, I invite you to just roll off the bolster and the blocks onto one side. And then just come into a fetal position for a moment, just to rest, integrate that. Bring your knees together so you stack your knees, maybe make a pillow with your arm. And just stay here for just a few more moments, just a few more breaths. And then we'll press into one hand and help to drive us back up to seated. And we'll take our little structure and we'll move it aside for now. And we'll keep our strap close to us. And we'll need that eye pillow later on. And then we'll just come all the way down onto our backs. And when you arrive on your back now, let the back settle, because depending on how long you're in that heart bench, you might feel a nice relief and release as the back just rests on the earth. You can leave your legs straight out, or you can bend the knees. Take another big breath, see if you can soften your shoulders, let everything settle, and then we'll draw the knees into the chest. And we could rock side to side here as we squeeze the knees in. See if you can let your shoulders and the fullness of your back continue to rest on the earth, even as you're drawing your knees into your chest. So head and neck and shoulders are all resting on the earth. And we're swaying side to side, east to west, or maybe coming through circles just to stretch into the low back and a little massage. Maybe you reverse the direction. And now we'll draw the right knee into the chest. And then if you like to extend the left leg, and if that works for your low back, that's great. If you'd rather feel more steady in the pelvis, bend that left knee as we draw the right knee into the chest. And now begin to breathe deep into the belly here. Let the belly rise and meet the thigh. And then we'll exhale, draw the knee into the chest. A little deeper. Maybe rock side to side, just opening up a little more. Nice. And then we'll release the shin and extend the leg straight up from the hip. So where the hip, the knee, and the ankle are all in alignment, and the foot is flexed. And then we'll begin to warm up from the base as we point the toe and then flex the feet and the toes back towards the face. And see if you can articulate that movement. Trying to show you that through the toes, the ball of the foot, the heel. Just one direction then the other, stretching the top of the foot, the bottom of the foot, and all the joints of the foot. So you should feel that ankle the back of the leg starting to warm up. And then next time you come to that neutral position, begin rotating around the ankle joint. Maybe inhale deeply, a few rotations in one direction, and then when you feel the change of the breath, maybe release and reverse the direction there. And then one more time in the other direction. And then exhale again, and then reverse the direction. Nice. So you should feel a nice warmth coming into the ankle joint there. And then from here, we'll begin to warm up in the knee as you bend the knee and then extend the leg straight up. And just bending and extending the leg. Starting to warm up in the knee, in the quad, in the back of the leg. Yeah, nice. Press through the heel at the top and go slowly. You know, sometimes we try to move too fast and we are not as aware of the movements. And part of this practice is to really start to tune into what's going on in our heart, in our mind, in our body. And so now next time your knee is bent, you should feel nice and warmed up, some fluid coming into the joint. Reach for your strap or your tie or whatever you have handy. And then see if you can press either the ball or the instep of the foot into the strap, and then extend the leg straight up. And then walk your hands down to the base of the strap so that your elbows and your shoulders can be resting on the earth. Nice. And then we'll extend the leg, maybe give a little bit of a pressure to the strap, but see if you can keep your knee soft so that you're not, really giving a lot of pressure on the joint or hyperextending the knee. You'll still get a lot of great stretch in the back of the leg right here. So take a couple breaths right here. And then when you're ready, we're going to initiate this movement from the hip joint. So really draw your mind's awareness into the ball in the socket with a little pressure on the strap. We're feeling that femur nicely hugged into the ball in the socket. And then we're going to explore here, begin to rotate from the hip now. So you're kind of making circles with the leg, but the motion is really coming straight from the hip joint. And start to make these circles small at first. Begin to notice all the strappy muscles around the hip joint. Some of the bigger muscles that are moving through the range of motion. And then we'll make these circles a little bit bigger as you continue to explore, feeling all of that motion through the joints. Big circles all the way around. Maybe toning the low belly, help to protect the back as you come through. So continuing to make these circles as large or as small as you like, depending on what works for your practice today. Yeah. And then we'll pause whenever that feels right for you, and then reverse the direction. Maybe start this time with the wide circles and then move to smaller and smaller circles. And again, maybe you notice the different pattern here of the firing of the ligaments and the muscles as you move through that whole range of motion around the hip. And if you find yourself drifting to, that's the hip that always gives me trouble, maybe you could change that thought to, that is the hip that is working really hard and needs a little extra love today. So just turn it into a little more of a positive thought. And then we'll come back up to perpendicular to the earth. And we'll give a little bit of love to that hamstring right there. And then as you inhale, we'll open up the foot to the right side. So the right leg on the right side, if that's where if you're with me on the right. And just give a moment for that stretch to occur. Maybe you get a little adjustment in the low back here. I frequently do. And then on an inhale, on an exhale, lift that heel to perpendicular, and then cross over the midline a little bit more so that you get a nice stretch in the IT band. But leave this hip on the earth at this point. You get a nice stretch on the outside of the leg. And then as you inhale again, open up to the right side. And then exhale, sort of lead with the heel as you draw the leg straight up, really pulling in with this adductor muscle. And then cross the midline just a bit to get into the IT bend. And we'll do that a couple more times as the inhale comes. Open up slowly, resisting gravity here. And then exhale, reach up, let the foot come back up. And then exhale, we'll come over again. And then inhale and open up for the last time. And then exhale, draw the leg up and stretch over. This time, maybe take the strap in the opposite hand. Inhale here, bring your right arm to the floor in the mat. And then as you exhale, we'll draw the right foot over to the left side now. Coming into a straight leg twist. So as the weight of the leg is over on the left, drawing your shoulder, the right shoulder to the earth. And now send a great big breath from the tailbone up through the crown of your head. And really extend the spine. And then on the exhale, notice if you're gripping the joints in your right leg over there. Maybe you're gripping your toes or your ankle or your knee. Maybe you could release that leg down. Yeah, and just let the stretch occur. Let the twist occur. These twists today are going to be very, very good for the immune system, really wringing out the organs. Yeah. And then when you feel ready, take the hands, help the leg up with the strap. Allow the hip to come back to the earth. Pause for a moment here at the top. And then on an exhale, slowly, 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 lower that leg. Lower the leg. And now, just before you get to the mat, see if you could just hang out there for one breath. And then on the exhale, lower that heel to the earth. And then just stretch out and notice. Notice the difference between the right and left side. You probably feel like one side is longer than the other. And just notice. And now when you're ready, we'll bring both knees back into the chest. Keep your strap handy. Excuse me. And we'll rock the knees side to side again. Nice. And then when you're ready, we'll bring the left knee into the chest and we'll send the right foot either straight down on the mat, extending the leg, flexing the foot, activating the psoas muscle here. Or if that's a little too much for your back, just bend that knee and bring the sole of the foot to the earth. That'll release some pressure on the low back. And now as we breathe deep into the belly, and see if you can relax your shoulders down on the earth as you breathe into the left side, massaging those organs from the inside. Really nice. And then release the hold on the shin and extend the leg straight up. And now we'll point and flex the foot. Pointing and flexing, pointing, flexing. Feels good, warming up the leg. And then when you're ready, we'll rotate around the ankle joint a few moves in one direction with the breath. And then we'll reverse the direction. And then breathe again and reverse the direction. And one last rotation as we move through all those ligaments around the ankle joint on the left now. And then extend the leg and then we'll bend at the knee. So extend and bend, warming up in the leg and the knee joint. Yeah, it feels good. Nice warmth coming into the knee, little synovial fluid getting in there, lubricating the joint. And then next time your knee is bent, let's reach for the strap again. And now wrap it around the base of the left foot. So either at the at the ball of the foot or right at the instep, whichever is more comfortable. And then we'll bring the strap all the way down so that your hands can rest on your belly and your shoulders and elbows can rest on the earth. And then we'll just give a little gentle stretch to the back of the leg. Again, be mindful that you're not locking out the knee, that the knee remains soft. So again, we're getting the stretch in the muscles and we're not putting extra pressure on the joints. Nice, so a couple breaths here. And now bring our awareness into that femur and the ball and the socket of the left hip now. And now we're going to begin to warm up the left hip. So as we begin, we're going to think about that movement coming from the hip socket and the hip joint. And we're going to begin to make small circles at first, rotating through that range of motion on the left side. The left and right might feel entirely different. Again, let's go to a positive thought on that as you really begin to warm up and feel all of the muscles, ligaments, joints, tendon, all there right around that hip joint, supporting the movement of that. And these muscles on the inside of the thigh are lighting up, outside of the thigh, into the low back. Nice. Making these circles a bit bigger now with each rotation through. Just playing with feeling that range of motion. Nice. And then wherever you feel is the right moment, pause and then reverse the direction, coming around in the other way. It's also sort of fun to note which direction is your natural direction. Some people go into the middle and then out. So on the right, it's clockwise, and on the left, it's counterclockwise. Some people always go one counterclockwise or clockwise. So there seems to be a little unscientific trend about which direction you go as far as if you're right or left-handed. It's kind of interesting. And then we'll come back to the top. And then we'll open up the legs. So as you inhale, allow the left leg to come out to the left side. And then as you exhale, use that inner adductor muscle there to draw the leg up. And then just cross over the midline a little bit to get into that outside of the left leg now, that IT bend. But leave the hips on the earth in this variation right here. Opening up on the inhale. And then exhale as you draw the foot back up. In this series as well, you can inhale again and open. You can use the strap instead of just as a support here, or adding a little bit of tension, you could actually use it as a resistance band by resisting in the opposite direction of the movement of the leg and getting, therefore, a little more strengthening into the muscles. So, and you, of course, can do that if it works for your practice, and do it into whatever intensity works for your practice today. And the next time the leg is passing through that perpendicular line, this time allow the hip to come off the earth as you roll over left leg over on the right side now. And you can move the foot closer to your head or further down, wherever you feel that nice stretch right across the outside of that hip and into the low back. And we'll bring our left hand to the earth, encourage our left shoulder to be on the earth as the left foot is now on the right side. So you're in this beautiful twist, sending the breath from the tailbone to the crown. And then on the exhale, just letting everything go. Check in with those joints. Are you locking out your knee? Are you gripping your toes? Maybe you could just let the weight of gravity and the weight of the leg and the strap carry you over a little deeper as you exhale and soften. Inhale and lengthen up the spine. And on your next breath, you can inhale as you start the journey back up to perpendicular. Let the fullness of your back settle on the earth here. And then give yourself one more little stretch at the top. And then as you're ready, we'll slowly lower the leg. And this is kind of fun because if you hover where you think you are in space is a very interesting experiment. Proprioception, where's your body in space? And then you exhale again and lower it and like, oh wait, the mat is further away than I thought. That frequently happens. And then let's just settle in here for a couple of breaths, just noticing the sensation. And now hopefully a more balanced feeling between the right and left side. So that is our strap series opening sequence. And when you're ready, we'll make our way up to hands and knees.